Welcome. So today we're talking about another serious topic, and it's the topic of burnout. And for a long time, I wasn't even sure if it was a thing. I'd heard people talk about it, but what does it even really mean? Until I experienced it myself. And it completely derailed every aspect of my life and my health, and it was pretty frightening to go through. And I read a lot of advice and looked for as much information as I could gather on the topic. And a lot of it pointed to making drastic changes in your life, changing your job, changing your career, changing where you live, all of these major, massive life changes that I simply, from that place of burnout, there's no way I had the energy or the thought process to be able to pull off something like that. And I knew it would just cause more overwhelm and more stress, so I needed another way. I couldn't leave the circumstances that I was in. I had to make the life that I had that was in front of me work, but I also knew that I was in a seriously dangerous place of burnout. So I started doing a little bit more research and doing a lot of soul searching and reflection, and slowly, very slowly, and being very patient with myself, started taking some concrete steps to pull myself out of that place of burnout and get to a healthier place of joy and vitality once again. And so that's what I want to share with you today. So step number one is accept where you are. When I was in that place of barely being able to move through my days, get through my days, I was in such an extreme state of burnout. I kept thinking, I need to do something different. I need to quit my job. I need to move my family. And every time I thought of it, it would just make things absolutely worse. And it wasn't until I started accepting and telling myself, you're okay where you are. You don't need to change anything drastically. Just stay where you are for right now and figure it out. And then at the end of that process, if you still do want another job or you want to move, you will be taking those steps from a better place. But just accept where you are. So that is step number one. Step number two is take care of your physical health. I'm willing to bet, and chances are, that if you are in a place of burnout, you have allowed yourself physically to get off track. You probably are not getting enough sleep. You're probably not getting enough exercise, and I'm willing to bet your diet is off too. So the first step in conquering burnout is forget all of the other pieces. Forget all of the big decisions with your job and your family and all of the other parts of your life, and just focus on that one thing. Put everything else on autopilot for a while. Do what you have to do to get through, but make your daily focus your health. For me, I had to seek outside help for this. I did go to a doctor who helped put me on a dietary plan that was going to build up my strength, build up my immune system, and combat inflammation that I was experiencing as a result of stress and poor diet and poor sleeping habits and not exercising and all of the other bad things I was doing for my body. So if you need to get outside help, don't shortchange yourself and don't think, oh, it's too expensive, or find a way to make it happen and get that support. It's so important and so critical. So take a look at your diet, start eating whole foods, start drinking a lot of water, start avoiding the sugar and the fat and maybe it's carbs, whatever it may be that may be causing you to be ill. And what I found is that I even had some allergy situations that I needed to deal with. So maybe there's some of that for you too. And those fixes, once you start really working on them and focusing on them, it gets easier. At first it's hard because change is hard, but it truly does get easier, and you get to a place where it just becomes part of the way you live, and it supports you and pushes you forward, and you will feel so much better, I promise you. Sleep is another important area. Make sure that you are getting enough sleep. Most of us do need 7 to 8 hours, sometimes even more, and yet we shortchange ourselves on sleep so much. So turn off the TV, shut off the electronics, go to bed early, sleep well through the night, figure out what is going to give you a good night's sleep. I ended up having to get earplugs and an eye mask so that I could create this dark, quiet space so that I could get the rest that I need. Look into maybe some herbal supplements too that can help you with sleep, like melatonin. There are several things out there that can help. And then exercise. Wow, I cannot state this one enough. I know it's everybody says how important exercise is, but it's so easy when we're busy and when we're tired, and especially when we're in burnout, and the last thing we want to do is anything. Getting yourself up and moving can be so hard. So take it easy. Just go for a walk, a simple walk. And then you'll find as you do it, as you take those first steps, you will have more energy to do more and more and more incrementally. But start small and then move through the steps. And one more thing I want to say about this particular step is, in a way, it's like you are teaching yourself all over again how to live a healthy lifestyle. So consider it a clean slate, and once again approach it slowly and carefully and thoughtfully, and understand that you're laying a brand new foundation. So be patient with yourself. Tip number 3 is explore your passions. And I almost shudder and hate to say this way, because the whole, follow your passion, it's kind of become a cliche, and it's a huge trend to talk about it now. And truly, when I say the words and think about them, my honest reaction is, what does that even mean? I don't even know what I'm passionate about. I know what I like, but there's not one particular thing that I just want to be absorbed and think about it all the time, 24/7. There are lots of many different varied topics and subjects that I want to explore and learn about and pursue, but I wouldn't call them one great driving passion. But I would say that they are things that excite me, that light me up. And yeah, I get kind of bored easily, so I'll work on one thing for a little while, and then I want to try something else. So the whole idea of finding my passion would just stress me out even more, because there's not one thing that I want to devote my whole 100% of my energy and time to. And if you are like that, then just let yourself off the hook, and maybe don't consider it pursuing a passion, but just look for the things that you like to do and add those into your life. That is the true key to coming out of burnout, is reaching that place within yourself, that place of your soul that is dying for expression, that is dying for attention. That is the true reason people burn out. It's not so much that we're overworked or overloaded, although it's a contributing factor. It's really more of what's missing from our life, what we're not doing, not so much what we are doing. So if you start adding those projects back into your life, doing those things that bring you joy, it's going to make a tremendous difference, and it is the single most powerful thing you can do to pull yourself out of burnout. So when I first started approaching this, I didn't know what I wanted. At that point in my life, nothing brought me joy, and that would really scare me. It's like, wow, what if I'm just not a person who likes anything? Am I that much of a curmudgeon? Am I that negative? But then very slowly and patiently, I just started playing around with different things. I gave myself permission to just try something, and try it for no reason at all. I tend to be, and if you are the same way, ambitious and want to accomplish a lot of things, you look for efficiency, you look for purpose. Everything has to tie back to something, have a reason behind it. In this case, let all that go. Just do it just because you like it. So I started picking up sketching again, with no particular idea that I wanted to be good at it. I just enjoyed it. I started studying different topics that I really liked, and filling my mind with that knowledge and enjoying that. And that was really fun. And slowly and little by little, I started tapping into the things that just ignited me and set me on fire and made me happy and excited. And the miracle of all of it, and the best part of it, is that enthusiasm and energy started spilling over into my work life, started spilling over into the responsibility area of my life that had been draining me so much. And so I was being fueled by these extracurricular hobbies that I started picking up, and then my work started fueling me again instead of draining me. And it was a beautiful, beautiful combination. Tip number 4. And this one may sound counterintuitive to the tip about taking care of your health, but if you do it correctly, it's not. It actually flows in and supports it. And it's be a little reckless, within reason, but don't be so rigid with your schedule, so rigid with yourself, so hard on yourself, forcing yourself to do things. Now, yes, as you're taking care of your health, you are going to have to apply more discipline in the beginning as you clean up your diet, your sleeping habits, and forcing yourself to get out there and exercise. But also, don't be so rigid with your time and your schedule. That's where I was running into trouble, and that's what was leading me into burnout. And when I eased up a little bit and stopped putting time limits on the projects that I was working on and allowed myself the flexibility and the freedom to just work on something until I felt like it was done, or maybe not work on something until I felt like doing it, which to me felt like I was being so irresponsible and reckless. And I slowly started feeling whole again. I started feeling better. I started finding the joy in the activities that I was doing because I wasn't being such a harsh taskmaster. And it brought a whole element of peace into my life that has been so incredible and phenomenal to experience. So tip number 4 is go ahead, be a little reckless, let yourself go just a little bit. So that's it. Those are my 4 tips, 4 steps for pulling yourself out of a place of deep burnout and feeling like you can't just take another step forward and you can't keep going, to slowly transforming your life to where you have that inner fire and that inner source of energy that propels you through all of the responsibilities, all of the tasks, all of the complicated, sometimes hard things that just make up life. These steps will help so much. So please comment, let me know about your experiences with burnout. Let me know if you've tried some things and if they've worked or maybe they haven't worked. And also don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thank you.